Hey, it's Amy here. Thanks for joining. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about some of the key lessons, there's actually 4 of them, that I've learned in order to really enhance your level of success in business and also, coincidentally, at the same time in your life as well. If you're new to me, my name is Amy Smith, and I am the founder of the In-Demand Coach program, where we help coaches and consultants to attract premium clients using LinkedIn. And I'm coming to you from a different location today. I'm actually just on my hotel balcony at the Hilton in Hawaii. We've actually been enjoying an 8-week honeymoon, which was something that if you hadn't told me about 5 years ago, when I was still working in my corporate job, that would not have been possible at all. I would have told you that you're crazy. There's no way that I could do an 8-week honeymoon. And so it's been pretty cool. This is our last stop in Hawaii. And so I wanted to jump on because there's a few things that I've learned along the way that I think might be useful for you as well, just through my own experience in leaving the corporate space and being out on my own and enjoying business and having some extra flexibility and fulfillment and freedom from doing that. So the main thing I wanted to speak to you on is really about our mindsets when it comes to success. And I think there's a big shift that happens when you do go from being an employee working for someone else to then stepping into your own business. So maybe you're a coach right now who's doing a bit of coaching on the side, and you're also in your leadership role and you're really loving the coaching side, but you just haven't made it click yet in terms of the business to allow you to be full-time in the coaching space, doing what you really enjoy doing the most. So tip number 1, something that I've really learned over the years when it comes to success is we firstly have to borrow the belief of someone else before we actually believe it ourselves. Now, a really great example of this was when I first started my business. I was used to just earning my salary in my corporate space, and I met someone that was earning $50K a month in their coaching and consulting business at the time. And when I was first getting started, that was inconceivable to me. It isn't now, but when I was first getting started, it totally was. And so one of the things that our brains love to do is they want to keep us in familiar environments. They want to make sure that we are safe, we are comfortable, and we're not doing anything that's a little bit too crazy. And so for our brains, particularly in the beginning, if we go from working our corporate jobs, earning our regular income, to then saying that we're going to have a $50K month in our coaching consulting business, it's quite a big leap for our brains. And if you haven't already done that before, our brain has no kind of evidence that we can actually make that happen. And so one of the things that we can do is we can believe it and we can manifest, or we can make some affirmations and sit by the beach and say, I can do it, I can do it. But actually what we actually need to do is borrow the beliefs of someone else who has done it. And that will actually start to provide some evidence for our brain to know that it's possible for us as well. So the first step is really what I've learned is that if you want to reach that next level of success, it might not be $50K a month, it might be your first $10K a month. And if that's the case, then that's absolutely cool too. If you haven't yet done it, what you need to do is look at some other people that have done it so that your brain can actually borrow those beliefs of other people. This is why in the beginning, it is so important to work with someone who has been and done what you're looking to do. Because even through osmosis, when you're working with them, you tend to start to think like them. You can see the different ways that they view things. And that actually helps your brain to borrow their beliefs of what's possible for you as well. So that worked really well for me in the beginning and still does today. Every new level, I go borrow the beliefs of someone that has done it before me, and I adopt those for myself. So my brain has evidence and I can get there a lot quicker. Step number 2 is we need to actually normalize success. For many of us, as I said, we stick to the familiar. And so once we reach a certain level or something new, our brains and our bodies freak out and go, well, this is unusual. This is not normal. What should I do with this? I don't know about you, but if you've ever noticed that you have a particular, I call it your money temperature. You have a particular money temperature in your bank account where there's a certain number that you'll get to. And once you start to go over that number, for whatever reason, you'll find yourself back at your comfort zone level or your money temperature. So for example, if you have $100,000 in the bank and you only ever used to having $10,000 in the bank, then there's an interesting thing or an interesting way that some way, somehow you'll end up spending that money or doing something that brings you back to that 10K. And so what we actually need to do is once you've got that 100K, just as an example, in your bank account, we actually have to normalize that as your new normal to then make sure that you sustain that to then get to another level as well. I had a really interesting chat with Andrea, who's one of our in-demand coach clients, and she's just hit her first 10K month in her executive coaching business. She only started a couple of months ago from when she left her corporate gig. So the first thing was sort of borrowing the beliefs of other people that it was possible. And the second step for her is now this is her new normal. So, being in amongst the tribe and seeing other people that have broken through 10K, 20K, 30K months, she knows that it's possible for her now too, having done it. So she's got the evidence. And now it's about really normalizing that success. And so that's just the new normal of 10K months now for her, which is pretty cool. So it's very easy to all say this, but I think it's really different in practice to do it. But it's good to be really aware of it now if you catch yourself falling into some of these little traps. So number 2, normalize it. Be around other people where it's just the usual day-to-day experience for them. All right. That's one thing that I know is really important. Number 3, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think sometimes we are creatures of habit. We can just stay in our comfort zones because that is a really good place to be and it can be quite comfortable. If you're wanting to grow, if you're wanting to get to that next level, we've all heard probably the cliches and things out there that the magic happens outside of your comfort zone. And it couldn't be more true in business. One thing I know for sure is that what got you to a certain level or what made you successful, perhaps in your corporate leadership role, isn't going to be the same thing that makes you successful in business. And sometimes it's a hard time confronting that, but it's so true. Getting used to being uncomfortable is very important if you're wanting to get to that next level. In fact, one of the things, and I'm a little bit weird perhaps for doing this, but one of the things that I've always monitored myself with is making sure that I have that feeling of uncomfortableness all of the time, knowing that if I stay in that zone, if I stay in that area for a sustained period of time, then it just helps me push and go through those next barriers. So I actually feel weirder if I'm comfortable now than when I'm uncomfortable. And that has been a really big shift and something that I found has really worked for me. A great example of this is that if you're in a group of people where you are the most successful in that room. So I remember I've been on many different boardroom tables and different tables within my corporate space and felt quite comfortable in that space. But then to be out in business and making sure that you are the person that knows the least in that room and making sure that you're uncomfortable in some rooms is absolutely key. For me, this week in Hawaii, I've been hanging out with some of the top 7 and 8 figure coaches and consultants from around the globe. And it has been absolutely eye-opening to be in a room where people just think the same way as you, but also think at a totally new level. So it's actually really nice, but at the same time quite uncomfortable. But it's very also inspiring to be in those rooms. So making sure that you're a little bit uncomfortable in each room that you go into is absolutely key as well. And starting before you're ready, because there is never a perfect time, I can tell you that. So starting before you're ready and being uncomfortable is absolutely key. Number 4 is really starting to embrace it and allowing yourself to receive it. One of my favorite quotes from Steve Jobs is that you can always connect the dots looking back. You can't really look at them moving forward. And one of the things that I love is being able to take a pause and stop and really embracing and celebrating the success that you've achieved today. For myself, I would say that I'm quite typical kind of high achiever where we hit a goal and then once we've hit that, we're looking at the next goal that we want to hit. And so I've had to catch myself over the years to make sure that I really stop and celebrate and embrace it and allow it. A great example of this was actually on my trip where we were in Monaco and we were just walking around and we could see these nice restaurants near the port. And so we thought, let's go and have a nice drink in the afternoon. And we're looking at all these beautiful boats and there was all these super yachts and multi-million-dollar super yachts with helipads and everything. Like, it was very cool. If you've ever enjoyed people watching, Monaco is the place to people watch. And so we were sitting there and we were enjoying a drink and we thought, let's just have a drink. And I ordered a champagne. My husband ordered a cup of coffee and we were just sitting there and enjoying. And then we got the bill and the bill came out and the bill was 76 euros for 2 drinks, 1 cup of coffee and a glass of champagne. And ordinarily, years ago, I would have totally freaked out if that bill came out. This time around, I was happy to pay. We had a great experience. Do I ordinarily go out and get a coffee and a champagne for 76 euros? No, I do not. I'm quite happy with my local coffee shop where the prices are significantly less. But this was a moment where I was just allowing and embracing the success I've had in business and rewarding myself for that as well. So I think that's a real key and very important along the way for you to allow it, embrace it, enjoy it. And that's going to help you to really break through those next levels of success. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you found this really useful or valuable. What's some things that you've really found has helped you to break through next levels of success, whether it be business or life or however that looks to you. And success, of course, is different for everyone. I've talked a lot about some money examples here, but it can mean totally different things for everyone, which is absolutely okay as well. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one thing that's really helped you? And if you found this useful, you can also follow me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and I look forward to sharing more with you shortly. Bye for now.